All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Yushi. I am the minister here at Happy Science New York Temple. Let's go ahead and get started, and let's watch The Invitation to Happiness, Season 2, Episode 2.
The following program is sponsored by Happy Science.
Hello and thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. Ryuho Okawa is a global visionary, a renowned spiritual leader, and an international best-selling author. With his deep spiritual insight, wisdom, and compassion, Okawa is committed to guide people to true happiness and create a better world. To accomplish this, he founded Happy Science Group in Japan in 1986, which has become a global movement in over 100 countries. His vision and message to the world goes beyond the differences of race and language. Together, throughout this program, we will explore ways to attain true happiness through a spiritual perspective and how to create a better world starting from within. Nowadays, we can see an alarming increase in family problems. With competition and pressure at an all-time high, it's a challenge just to keep up with society. People deal with this stress in various ways. Some people turn to faith, while others may turn to substance abuse, addictions, and even violence. Is there a connection between the increase in these problems with spiritual influences? In today's episode, we will walk you through what the spiritual explanation is behind these issues. But first, let's ask the people of New York what they think is behind substance abuse, addiction, and domestic violence in the family.
Yes, I do. I have a couple friends who have had addictions before, and it usually starts off kind of innocent, but then it can turn into a downward spiral. So I haven't seen many cases against that. It seems like it always starts kind of innocent and then ends up something much worse.
I think that anything in abuse is toxic, be it violence or drug abuse. I think that drugs and alcohol in moderation don't necessarily have to be evil or negative, but once you exacerbate those sources, it can lead to a lot of devastating effects.
I really don't know. I believe that those things come out of genetic history, that kind of thing, different neural imbalances. There's a lot of addiction in my family. I don't feel like someone's conspiring against me. I think that's just my given circumstances.
What about you? Do you think there are negative forces, like evil spirits, behind substance abuse, addictions, and domestic violence? Let's get some further insight from Okawa.
I would like to talk about family problems represented by concrete examples. However, there will be so many of them that I will not be able to talk about all of them in this lecture. Therefore, I will focus mainly on alcoholism and domestic violence issues that I have not talked much about so far, and then give my idea on various family issues. Adult children of alcoholics are people who grew up in a family with an alcoholic parent who was physically violent, unable to keep a stable job, who were brought up in such a devastating environment where they do not feel safe and protected usually have certain problems. These people are unaware of why they are facing such problems, but if they reflect on their past, they would realize that the root of the issue stems from problems in their family during their childhood. Unless they reflect back and improve their mindset entirely, they will not be saved. Of course, there are other addictions in addition to this. It may sound surprising, but workaholics can also lead to family breakdown. Debt problems and gambling can cause problems in the family too. Moreover, there are many people who are addicted to sex and are frantic about the opposite sex. Such problems of addiction leading to personality disintegration or family dysfunctions are considered as subject matters in psychiatry. But this is quite frankly associated with religion. This is nothing but attachment taught in Buddhism. Attachment is a state in which a person is deeply obsessed with something, unable to be free of it. From my experience, I grew even more intolerant to alcohol after I attained my spiritual power. I have never been a heavy drinker, but I became very sensitive to alcohol, and it makes me unable to summon high spirits. They would not enter my body and speak through me. This may be one reason why religions traditionally prohibit drinking alcohol. It enables evil spirits to possess you easily and cause high spirits to avoid you. This also means that you cannot practice spiritual concentration and that your brain does not function properly. There are situations where individuals' personalities suddenly change, where they would start yelling gibberish after drinking alcohol, but do not recall acting in such a way. In this kind of situation, they are usually possessed. Therefore, their personality changes. When the rational side weakens, it becomes very easy for such people to get possessed by spirits, and those spirits actually talk using their body. The negative side of their personalities will suddenly come to light. They might start speaking rudely, start muttering strange words, or start behaving violently. We can see that alcohol can make one an instant psychic. The difficult issue is that there are people who can constitutionally drink and people who cannot. But ultimately, the problem has very much to do with our ability to control through willpower. Adult children who grew up in families with alcoholics, I mentioned earlier today, surprisingly enough, about 50 to 60% of the daughters from these families end up marrying alcoholics, in spite of the fact that they strongly wish not to become like their parents. They end up marrying someone just like their parents. Many people who have witnessed tragic situations involving alcohol when they were small would suffer from depression and suicide attempts, or even if they come to have their own families one day, they tend to go through similar family breakdowns. Hence, it is crucial to be able to analyze the root of the problem. Knowledge is power. So once we understand the cause, we will be able to control ourselves to a certain extent. Children who grow up in a dysfunctional family go through a lot more shock and trauma than others. Watching their own parents drinking, beating, and abusing or chasing each other with knives in their hands will certainly change a child's view on life. This kind of atmosphere at home creates a family secret that children do not want to share with their friends. With time, this becomes a cover or a protective shield over their hearts. As a result, some children become completely rebellious and turn to juvenile delinquency. Some attempt suicide at a young age by cutting their wrists. Some get involved with gangs, and some will get thinner poisoning. In this way, there are children who become juvenile delinquents, while there are others who do not. For children who do not, they lead an extremely distressful childhood. Although the term adult children does not refer to children, but to adults who are raised in an alcoholic family, the word is often misunderstood to refer to children. One of the reasons for this misunderstanding comes from the fact that children often take on the role of an adult in the family from a very young age. The eldest son may try to protect his mother from a drunk and violent father. Or the eldest daughter may try to be the peacemaker when the mother's drunkenness causes continual fighting with the father. They spend an exhausting childhood full of worries. There are cases where the highly responsible child will make heroic efforts to support the family, while there are other cases in which a child becomes a mediator or a peacemaker. There are also those who act as clowns. These children will attempt to use humor or try to be funny to create a buffer by making the family laugh. On the other hand, another type of child becomes completely detached or apathetic. Children take various countermeasures to survive in a collapsing family. Another case is children who become sick or become troublemakers. By committing a crime or taking negative actions, they try to attract their parents' attention and patch up the breakdown in the family. Children raised in dysfunctional families have such extreme life experiences compared to other children. For this reason, they will either push themselves so hard to be like heroes or feel beaten early in life and have a deep sense of failure. Both are possible. People raised in such dysfunctional households have deep emotional wounds. Those wounds manifest in their adulthood and cause many problems. The root of these problems lie in their childhood, so unless they confront the roots, their issues will never be resolved completely. Other than alcoholism and domestic violence, there are many reports of sexual abuse within the home. A person who commits numerous acts of violence and sexual abuse is most likely to be possessed by many different evil spirits. They are becoming utterly insane. Generally speaking, our families and the schools we attend nurtures us. The influence from each is probably about 50-50. Knowledge, career training, and technical skills are mostly acquired at school. In regard to the view of life, it is established at home. Children learn by watching their parents. Hence, if children are raised in a sexually abusive home, they will feel extremely negative and pessimistic towards marriage itself. Even after marriage, they do not know what to do as a parent. One thing they know what to do is not to be like their parents. In case of a daughter who was raised in a dysfunctional home, she would have trouble knowing how to be a mother when she has her own child. It has been reported that some will repeatedly ask her child, "Do you love me?" They do not know how to behave like an adult or how to become a good parent. They lack confidence because they had no model that served as their teacher. The underlying reason for these problems is caused by spiritual possession within the family. This is an area that the doctors cannot fix. Firstly, it cannot be solved unless one's view on life is rebuilt in accordance with Buddha's truth. Since our actions are something that stem from our knowledge and thoughts, only trying to fix and change the action itself will be a struggle. It's impossible. The first step is to gain the right view of life.
As you can see, a lot of the problems we faced in our adolescence are similar to the problems we face now. Dealing with unresolved and unhealed wounds with addictions and violence only makes us all the more vulnerable to negative spiritual influences. However, not only can we regain the control of our lives, but we have the power to rebuild it. Having an understanding in spiritual truth will not only help to protect our families against negativity, but it changes the way we see, think, and feel about our past. Our behaviors change when our mindset changes. Let's hear more about living a life of spiritual truth from Okawa.
In addition, some parents have a strong desire to control their children. They feel this way because they gave birth to those children. These children who have controlling parents also become adult children. Children who do not have a safe space within their homes and who were raised in a dysfunctional family become adult children. Therefore, researchers on the term adult children has been expanded to include not only those who were raised by alcoholic parents, but also adults who were raised in dysfunctional families without a place where they felt safe. From a religious perspective, the themes would be the problems of growing up in a spiritually possessed family, and how people can deal with life problems after suffering in a spiritually possessed home in their childhood. If these are not dealt with appropriately, those people can become depressed, commit suicide, fail in a career, marriage, raising children, or create the same type of home that they grew up in. This situation of recreating the past seems to be occurring continuously. From a spiritual perspective, there are also cases where children inherit the evil spirits that possess their parents. When parents are extremely insane, they are usually possessed by several spirits, not just one. As there is a pathway created between the parents and those spirits, they are always at home and gradually affects the children. If children are displaying extreme behavior such as criminal acts, violence, or using abusive language from a young age, there is a possibility that they already inherited the possessing spirits from their parents. As a matter of course, such children will not be able to have a normal, healthy lives when they grow up. If they are possessed, they will tend to marry people who are possessed by the same type of evil spirits. There may even be cases where people are guided into marriage not by their guardian spirits, but by evil spirits. Sadly, they become attracted to those who have the same destructive tendencies as their parents. I have heard that tendencies of carnal desire and lust are also hereditary, but this is also spiritually passed down from generation to generation. In this regard, there are many families that are colonized and stationed by evil spirits. Ultimately, the only way to solve these problems is to receive the higher power and help from God or Buddha in heaven. Such power can become an opportunity for us to get back on the right track. People wish to be helped, wanting and waiting to be saved, but they have already developed so much distrust towards other people that everybody seems wicked. Hence, I believe we all essentially need to combat this with faith. If we are able to connect with high spirits of greater power through faith, our guardian spirits can finally return to our home and give us guidance. Along with the issue of adult children, the problem of depersonalization often occurs in those who grew up in dysfunctional families. Depersonalization is a state where you are detached from yourself, looking at yourself from outside of your own body, and no longer feeling as if you are yourself. This feeling does not subside even if they become adults. These people feel as if they are watching themselves from afar, like watching a scene in a movie, although they are being physically abused. To me, this makes a lot of sense. The human body and the soul are connected by a silver cord, and they are usually united as one. However, in a family where evil spirits have been continuously possessing its members, oftentimes, various spiritual possessions are going on as well. For this reason, a person's soul can be thrown out of the physical body. The soul will leave the body and other spirits will enter it. People who grew up in dysfunctional families tend to have a very low self-image. They tend to be self-abusive and lack confidence in anything they do. They also have the tendency to become easily depressed, experience more failure, and easily lose the motivation to bounce back from difficulties. The first thing to do to combat the problem here is to establish firm faith. This is rather similar to signing a contract with a security company. Faith is a type of contract stating that you are on the side of Buddha, God, and high spirits. Through this, you will have strong defenders. This is why establishing faith is the first thing the members of dysfunctional families should do. The next step, needless to say, is to explore the right way of thinking based on Buddha's truth. Practicing the exploration of the right mind is a crucial necessity. In a dysfunctional family, right views on life has been lost and the parents are unable to teach these right views. On a basic level, these people have usually developed great distrust towards others. Hence, first and foremost, it is important to regain the right view. It is crucial to establish right view of life based on right faith. It is important to create a spiritual condition that is in tune with the vibrations of the heavenly world by reading the books or DVDs of truth over and over again. Accumulating this process will eventually lead them to be uninterested with or feel odd with things that go against the truth. They will need to develop the capability needed to do these things. The first thing to do in rebuilding their lives is to establish the right view and to reflect on their past. Religiously speaking, one can rebuild his or her life by simply taking another look and reconsidering one's life purpose and mission based on the spiritual view of life or religious perspective of happy science. Why were you born into this type of family? There has to be some assignment you were given here. If you think about this from your own shoes, before you were even born, you will find that this is not a coincidence. You were born into this world for a reason. There is definitely a spiritual connection with your parents. However, you must not torture yourself by thinking that everything is your fault. There's no need to blame yourself, since there was not much you could do as a child. Instead, it is important to contemplate on why you chose this life and what you are trying to learn from this experience. Do not simply be repulsed thinking you do not want to become like your parents. Rather, re-examine your family as a part of your lesson in life. By having a spiritual view of life and through studying the truth enough, you will be able to establish a home totally different from that of your parents. If they see that you're raising your children in a different way and creating a different parent-child relationship, your parents will start reflecting on themselves. Self-reflection practiced before death has tremendous effect, and it is 10 times more effective. This is because self-reflection while still alive is very difficult to do. Self-reflection after death usually takes 10 times longer than it is done when alive. If your parents are able to practice it or enter the path of truth while they are alive, the spiritual merit will be immense. Rather, we need to think of accepting the dark parts of life and transform them and change them into light. It is much better to think this way.
In order to break away from the vicious cycle of negative spiritual possession, we need to establish faith in God. This is like signing a contract with a home security company. You'll be monitored and protected around the clock. There is not one evil spirit that can withstand God. Therefore, becoming one with God is the most important step in rebuilding your life. Once you are connected with the higher power through faith, you can renew your self-confidence and open a new path in life. Life is an eternal training ground full of lessons to be learned. And even if we aren't blessed with perfect parents, there is always something to be grateful for. We can thank them for being great teachers, teaching us vital lessons and preparing us for the world. Just like day and night, Life has both times of light and darkness. Although we can't erase the darkness, we can certainly embrace it with light. Please remember that there is no night without dawn. At Happy Science, you can listen to Okawa's other lectures related to today's topic. We also offer ritual prayers such as prayer for exorcising evil spirits, prayer for harmony at home, prayer for raising children, and others. We are here to support you in attaining happiness in life. Please contact a Happy Science location near you.
If you would like to learn more about Okawa and the teachings of Happy Science, visit invitationtohappiness.org or call us at 929-323-4737. Here at New York Temple, you'll find all of Okawa's publications and video lectures. We are here to support you in building a bright future. Come join us for weekly Sunday workshops and weekday guided meditations. Also, please find us on Facebook and YouTube by searching Happy Science New York. Your happiness is our mission. For more information on upcoming events, go to invitationtohappiness.org.
Once again, thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. Join us next week as we continue on our journey to happiness with the topic, How to Achieve True Success. See you next time.
So what was amazing about this book is that human beings, we are essentially all spiritual beings. So our mind works like a magnet. So whenever you have a feeling like anger or strong hatred, or even when you are depressed, many times that can be caused by negative spiritual influences. By reading this book, you can learn how to control those feelings and also prevent and protect you. I'm sure the contents will be very helpful for many of you because I feel like this is the one and only textbook for overcoming any negativities. So I strongly recommend this to you, and I hope you will gain true peace of mind.
The preceding program was sponsored by Happy Science.
All right, so let me turn up the volume. All right, so thank you for watching the Invitation to Happiness Season 2, Episode 2. How was it? It's really good, right? I mean, just so informative, don't you think? So informative, and also how timely. The reason why I say how timely is I'm going to be switching back and forth with the camera and my PowerPoint. But this is one of the news that I saw this morning. Opioid overdoses have skyrocketed amid the coronavirus, but states are nevertheless slashing addiction treatment program budgets. So, unfortunately, we are under currently a lot of stress, aren't we? I think we can all agree to that. And unfortunately, a lot of this unfortunate misery that the United States has in its culture is using drugs when it comes to escaping from sufferings or excessive stress. So not only people who has like a hard background in their childhood, but anyone who is in this like over competitive society called the United States of America, they go through so much stress. And this, article was saying the importance of we shouldn't slash addiction treatment programs. Yes, that's very, very helpful. But not only that, addiction treatment programs, what I've learned from everyone talking to me, is that they either give you medication, or in a good case, you're given a good counselor that you can talk to. But counseling, unless you meet someone who has this spiritual perspective, they can only talk it through from psychological aspects, but not the real root of the problem, which what we learned today was spiritual possession. And let me tell you, for those of you who's watching this all over the world, Happy Science is your salvation. If any of your friends, your family members are suffering from this kind of situation of addiction or just immense suffering in the household, Happy Science is your solution. And quickly, before I get into the Q&As that we received from today's TV program, I just want to quickly go over what are the solutions that are given here in Happy Science. So let's take a look at the PowerPoint. First and foremost, evil spirits can be inherited from your parents or your household, is what Master Okawa just explained in that lecture. And hence, exorcism is the key to happiness. Let me ask you a question. Who has even ever thought that exorcism is needed in their lives? No, right? I don't think not many people has, unless you're really one of those like people who's experienced a spiritual phenomena that's completely inexplicable from modern science, and if you're suffering from that, which is not much of the percentage of the population. But you may think so, but me working as a minister here at Happy Science, I am surprised by how many phone calls we get here at Happy Science Temple that they need service of exorcism. So apparently, I mean, it never really happened in my group of people that I know, but I've been noticing that a lot of people actually do suffer from these kind of spiritual disturbances. So that's one thing. But here's the thing. The spiritual possession, it's not all this like physical phenomena like poltergeists or anything. It's not only that. It's actually an amplification of your negative emotions. It's an amplification of the negative words that you say. And it really gets in between human relationships. And for some reason, whatever you do, it just goes in the wrong way. And I'm sure anyone can agree with me that they've been in this turmoil in human relationships, that whatever they try to do, for some reason, it just goes in the bad direction. And the usual case is that those people you're having a problem with, they're close to you. I think a lot of us can agree with me on that. But here at Happy Science, we are showing you how to protect yourself from that kind of situation. Going back to the slide, this book that you see to your right, it's called The Real Exorcist. You can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it at our temples, you can buy it at Barnes & Noble, but it is like it was in the testimony in the end of this video, the one and only cure to these kind of situations. And why do I say one and only? A lot of books on spiritual counseling, spiritual techniques of how to be happy, or exorcism, it's not legit, is how I felt when I've read all those other spiritual books. It's like it's coming out of their own personal experiences, but it's like, where does the legitimacy come from? It's like, is this really, really real? But let me tell you this, the reason why I say this is legit is because, first off, I literally saw with my eyes many people recovering from these kind of negative situations by reading these sorts of books. And I myself is actually one. When I had a human relationship issue, I would usually, if I did not know happy science, I would never think I would turn to the exorcism books. But the reason why I did is because it's true that there are spiritual disturbances behind it. And not only that, this exorcism book is so down to earth. When you hear the word exorcism, it feels like a supernatural thing, right? But it's actually not. The root cause of evil spirits possessing you is literally an everyday thing. It's the stress that you feel in everyday life circumstances or situations. And this book helps you one by one how to overcome those situations, to correct your mindset so that you can find happiness. And then you'll feel you're detached from these negative energies. Also, based on this book, we have made a movie. Master Okawa, the one who was giving the lecture in the video, he also creates movies, actually. He's produced, I think, almost 20 films now. And this one, it's called The Real Exorcist. It's kind of like a Japanese Shinto Buddhist style exorcism. It's very interesting. And it's gonna be in theaters starting August 7th, Friday. And it's gonna be in theaters for about a week. But we're seeing how the COVID-19 situation is. As of now, the theaters seem that they're gonna be able to be open. But if not, please feel rest assured, you can come to our temples all over the US and Canada to watch this movie at the temple, or you can get it on video on demand. But before I tell you more about this, let me show you a little bit of an excerpt as a promotional for this movie. It literally what this scene talks about is how spiritual possession can cause people to commit suicides. And let's take a watch.
To be free. The one who died 3 years ago? That Tomoka?
I see. You were a student here. I killed myself over and over, but I couldn't die. And no one even noticed me. That must have been hard. You might think killing yourself will break you free, but it won't bring you peace. In fact, it will only bring you more pain. I want to die. Help me. God gave humans a gift. We were all given eternal life. The anguish we suffer always has a deeper purpose. For anyone to grow in life, we must overcome our strife. I didn't know what I was living for, or even why. Being born into this world is such a precious thing. We are here with a goal and a mission to accomplish in life. Therefore, don't give up. Don't just give in to death thinking that it'll be easier. Tomoka, during all that time you were suffering, you were never truly alone, you know? Don't you remember your mom? Oh, Mom! I'm so sorry. In your next life, be sure to experience many things. I will. You know, my heart feels warm for the first time.
All right. Thank you very much. So, this movie, it talks about 5 cases, or maybe 6 actually, of people who goes through suffering in life, and it's actually called by spiritual possession. And as you can see, this is called The Real Exorcist, but it's not a horror movie. This is a movie of salvation. It really, it's so spiritually educational. I mean, like, you can feel the, the characters, what they're going through, and you can feel it as if it's for yourself or like maybe your friends that are going through it, and then it shows you a solution. That is the biggest difference of this exorcism movie compared to anything out there about, like, exorcism that only that tries to scare you. And it talks about a solution. So it's an educational film. Again, it's going to be in theaters August 7th. Go to therealexorcist.com to be able to learn more about this movie, or go to our website. And again, it'll be on video on demand, meaning you can get it in your iPhones. You can watch it from your iPad. You can even watch it from your computer too. So please, through Amazon or iTunes, all those different outlets. But if you're interested, please watch this and share it with people who may be suffering. Now, I'm just going to close it off with the 3 points, 3 sure ways that will protect you from negative spirits that's causing all of these sufferings in your life. If you're having a hard time believing that there are spiritual beings behind possession, let me just rephrase it. These are the 3 ways for you to cure your suffering or your stress. The first one is establishing faith. Second, exploring the right mind. And third, reciting sutras, or in other terms, offering prayers. So the first one, establishing faith. As Master Okawa has taught us in the video, when you establish faith, it's kind of like signing a contract with the heavenly world that will protect you 24/7. And this is legit. This is literally true from the eyes who have seen how the spiritual world actually functions. Master Okawa saw this. He sees all of this. And in truth, he is saying that if you have faith, it has a tangible effect from a spiritual perspective. They're always guiding you. And if you do have faith, please call upon the name El Cantare. El Cantare. El Cantare may be a new word, but it is actually the name of God. And this God is actually the root of all world religions. Looking at from the left, Muhammad, he had gained revelation from Allah, right? Allah is actually El Cantare. And then to the next, Jesus Christ, you know how in the Bible he talks about his Father? My Father has been guiding me. My Father is with me. And then he'd always pray to the Father before he would give sermons or he would heal people, right? That Father is actually El Cantare. Going next, Buddha. In Buddhism, people have a lot of misconceptions here in the United States that it's a philosophy, but it's actually not a philosophy, it's a religion. Or else why would Shakyamuni Buddha talk so much about the spiritual world? It's not like a man whose theory exists for 2,500 years is not delusional, okay? You can't write him off as a delusional person just because he wrote about the spiritual things. That is such an arrogant way of looking at life. But going back to Buddhism, there's this concept called the eternal Buddha. Eternal Buddha. It's like creator in the sense of Christianity or the Western terms, but that is also El Cantare. And also Elohim. This is a name of the God that comes out in the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible many times. But Elohim is also El Cantare. He's the God of love. So as you can see, El Cantare is in the root of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Judaism. And so please call the name El Cantare. It's so sad to pray to God not knowing his name. By knowing his name, you get a direct connection, even stronger connection. The next point of how to protect yourself is explore the right mind. Or in other terms, it's cultivating your divine nature. How would you do that? It is by reading God's words. So in Christianity, they have something called the Holy Bible. In Islam, they have something called the Quran. In Happy Science, we have something called Kyoten. Hard to pronounce, but Kyoten. Kyoten. So what is a Kyoten? It's our holy scripture. And by reading these Kyotens, what happens is you gain the correct perspective of life. What do I mean by the correct perspective of life? It means that you know for your first time the purpose you were born. Yes, you were born with a purpose. And also where you came from, why you're going through these kind of sufferings, which is actually only a polishment for your soul. And then where you go after death. You finally get the full picture of something called life in such a concrete manner. That is the beauty of Master Okawa's Kyoutens, the books he writes. And on the list here, I really recommend The Laws of the Sun. I mean, it'll, again, going back to what I was saying, the final picture of how this universe was created, how our souls were created, why we have a purpose in life, why we go through these different kind of situations, sufferings in life, and the purpose of it, why are there's these different religions in the world, and is there a solution to find final peace and prosperity for humankind? Yes, and it's all written in this Kyoten. And then The Real Exorcist, we've been talking about that a lot. The prescriptions for family problems. This one, it's internally published, so you can only get it at Happy Science temples. Go to invitationtohappiness.org. You'll be able to find all the temples near you. So please contact that temple, and our staffs will be happy to send it over to you. And then lastly, this is not a Kyoten, it's our prayer book called The True Words Spoken by Buddha. This goes to the third point of how to protect yourself from evil spirits, reciting sutras, reciting prayers. So this sutra, as it has the name Buddha on it, the sutra was written as Buddhist-like sutra, but you can read the name of Buddha translated into God. So this is not the sutra for Buddhists only. This is the teachings for all people, for all the religious people, to all the people who are waiting for a new religion to save them. So Buddha means God in this prayer book. Now let us watch a little bit of a intro video of this sutra.
Feeling bored at home? Need some extra energy? It's time to recite this sutra. This sutra was inspired and channeled directly by the Buddha consciousness. That's why it's so powerful. Can you guess how powerful it is? It's 10,000 times more powerful than any other Buddhist sutra. You can feel it for yourself. By reciting this sutra, you can connect to the highest part of heaven, to the energy of the primordial Buddha. Now, do you want to know what's written inside this sutra? This sutra reveals to you the secrets of the spirit world, reincarnation, and... oh, sorry, no spoilers. Please discover it for yourself. Anyway, the wisdom in this sutra will tell you why you are here on Earth and help you open up a bright future in your life. Lastly, it will give you peace of mind. Reciting this sutra every day helps you deepen your gratitude to others, and you will be free from negative influences, from evil thoughts and spirits. Why don't you give it a try?
All right. So this sutra, the true words spoken by Buddha, it looks like this. It's, very beautiful. It's like pocket size. But reciting the sutra every morning and night, my goodness, it's so better doing this in your daily life. It's like, don't miss out on this. You get direct access to this phenomenal light that really makes you feel peaceful. And the point of prayers is Norman Vincent Peale, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, he's one of my favorite pastors, but he has written in his book that if you do prayers, it's important to do it in 3 ways. First, slowly. Secondly, deliberately. Say it like you mean it. And then lastly, reflectively, like pondering on the words that you're praying. So these are the 3 steps I believe that is very helpful for us too when reciting the sutra, slowly, deliberately, and reflectively. So this sutra is available for all of our student members. Just call our temple, or you can sign up on the website actually from invitationhappiness.org. All you got to do is sign up, and then it's just a one-time $10 suggested donation, and then you receive this and also 2 other prayers. Prayer to the Lord, which has the name Alcantara in it, so you can directly pray to Alcantara with the correct wordings, and then also prayer to guardian and guiding spirits. You know how Master talked about it inside his lecture today? It was saying like people who are possessed by evil spirits, when they decide to make when they make a big decision in their life, such as career or marriage, they tend to get attracted to the same people who are possessed by the same type of beings, and they don't get the correct inspiration from guardian spirits. But when you recite this prayer, it's like a wake-up call to your guardian spirit every day, so that they're always in touch with you, so that you'll be able to make correct decisions. And in the end, life is all about decisions. So why not make the correct decision with heaven, with your guardian spirits? All right, so that is just my quick, sorry, I went around like 20 minutes, but just a quick overview of what I thought I could further explain regarding today's episode. And we got a couple of questions from the TV program that we aired. Yeah, this is actually on TV from 10:30 to 11. Yeah, and we're also doing it on YouTube Live right now. But anyhow, let's see, what are the questions? Okay, let me do this one. Do you need to believe in Buddha to attend Happy Science? No. As long as you have belief, that's the entrance for exploration of the right mind. So if you have belief in God, if you have belief in the universe, if you believe in something that's higher than you, then you're welcome. And if you are atheistic, if you are a materialist, sure, come ahead. Go ahead and come to Happy Science too. The reason why I say this is because even if you don't have a spiritual perspective of life, Master Okawa's teachings are so down-to-earth, pragmatic, and practical that there's so much that can help you too. So in essence, there's no requirement of anything to come to Happy Science. And even though this was not in today's question, furthermore, do you have to convert in Happy Science? No. Because you know how I explained earlier that Alcantara is the root of all religions? So you don't have to convert. It's okay. You can continue. There's a lot of famous pastors and Buddhist monks that are Happy Science members secretively. Because the reason why so is because, I mean, you know, they have their church to run, they have their temples to run, but since they can get so much wisdom out of Master Okawa's Kyoutens, his books, so they sign up as members, and they actually come to our temples too. Yeah. So we're very, very tolerant, and we're very embracing. I think that comes out of Master Okawa's personality. And then let's see, another question. What does exorcist mean? That's a good question. What does an exorcist mean? Actually, anyone can become an exorcist. You know how I was just talking about student membership? There's also something called a devotee membership, which means you devote yourself to the Buddha, to the Dharma, to the Sangha, or in other terms, to Alcantara, to his teachings, and to you know, the group of Happy Science. So when you devote yourself to these 3 treasures, these 3 jewels, what happens is it's not signing a contract of being protected, but you're going to be on the security team side, per se. So it's like you are given this divine mission to be able to help other people overcome their negative influences coming from evil spirits. So anyone can become an exorcist. And what that means is you have faith, you're gaining correct knowledge so that you have right perspective of life, and you're connected with the Sangha so that you'll like not be a prey of evil spirits. Okay, let's see. Another question. Is it true that Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven? I mean, if I was a Christian pastor, I can understand why they would want to say this, especially in these times when people are not going to church anymore, even though it's such an important time to go to church. or other religious institutes. So I can totally understand what he means, what they mean by is it true that Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven? Human beings are so simple-minded, and we make stupid mistakes. We're like children in front of the eyes of God. So like sometimes when you tell children, you have to give it in simple rules, right? So the simplest way of saying this is, yes, Jesus Christ is the only way to help you to heaven. You know, it'll be easier. Oh, okay. You know, it'll be easier for education-wise. But that was in the times when 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was alive, or a couple hundred years later, when the world was not interconnected like we're living now. Now that we're living in a global age where we literally, I mean, New York is a melting pot. Every part of the world is in the city, right? In these ages, this phrase can obviously create friction within other religions. And then it causes questions that just simply doesn't make sense. Such as, okay, how about humanity who lived before Jesus Christ? Did they all fall to hell? Or I decently, as a human being, I know that I do believe in God, and I can promise him that I'm a decent person, and from my perspective, I cannot believe this Buddhist monk who has such a great heart would fall to hell just because not believing Jesus. I think these are the questions that rise up, and that's a natural thing, and that's actually the truth. Jesus Christ, of course, he's a spectacular leader in the spiritual realm to help humanity, but he's not simply the only way to heaven. There are other great teachings that's been given and helps people guide to the heavenly world. It just makes more sense, right? It's like that. So that would be my answer for that one. And then last but not least, we got 3 minutes left. I think I can put this one in there. What does happy science mean? We get that a lot. It's like, happy science? Like I had at an expo, I had a booth that said happy science, and they thought it was like science experiments for kids. But it's not that kind of science. So happy science, how should I say this? We're sciencing happiness. Science is, in our terms, it's like, it's education. It's an education of happiness. So Master Okawa, he explores so many different ways for humanity to reach happiness. Why? Because we live in such a diverse world right now. And if we all live in such a diverse world and have so many different unique lives, you can't package happiness formula in just one simple thing and give it to them. It's got to be given to them in the right words, in the right way, in the right direction that's perfectly suited for each person, right? And hence, Master Okawa, he has written over 2,650 books, Kyoutens, and he's still alive. Why? Again, to help each and every person. But happy science, therefore, is like, it's an exploration of happiness, it is an education of happiness, but not from this worldly perspective only. Please don't ever forget about this. Happy Science's mission, the main mission, is to let people know that the spiritual world exists 1,000%. From that perspective, we are exploring happiness. So this is happy science, the meaning of happy science. All right, I finished in time. So that concludes today's Invitation to Happiness, Season 2, Episode 2. Next week, it'll be Episode 3. We'll be learning about true success. Success that gives you happiness. Success that will not arouse jealousy from the people around you. A noble success, not a greedy success. A heavenly way of prosperity is what we'll be learning next week. So I hope you guys can tune in. Everyone on YouTube, please tune in. Please subscribe on our Happy Science New York YouTube channel. And then we will inform you that we will be showing this next episode next week. And if you want to know more about us, please go to the descriptions of this YouTube page. And once again, everyone who's here today, thank you for attending. Thank you for watching on YouTube. I hope that you're able to get a hint on how to overcome family problems, drug addiction issues, and how to overcome stress overall. There's so much you can learn. Again, let me go back to the conclusion that I stated in the beginning. Happy Science will be your solution to solve your life's problems. Please reach out to us. Reach out to his books, Kyoutens. I'm sure, I promise you, that you and your friends and family members will be saved. Thank you so much for attending.